Hi, girly.
Hi, girly.
I'm Eliana,
I'm Derek.
and this is
The book club
For
for the
the
girlies.
Girlies.
Okay, on today's episode, we are jumping into part two, into our dive into the meaning of Mariah Carey by Mariah Carey. Before we jump into the episode, we do got a little business to take care of. Make sure that you have liked, commented, shared, and subscribed to this channel. Please and thank you.
Make sure that when you're commenting, that you are kind to everyone in the comments. That's kind to us, the author, and each other. Please also make sure that you follow us. All of the links are down in the description box below.
Yes, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you know that you're notified when we are posting.
Yes. And you guys, there will
Spoilers.
be
Oh,
spoilers.
yes.
With that being said, we are now ready to jump in to moments.
My first moment that I highlighted was Mariah drew a picture for her of her family
Uh-huh.
and she showed it to her dad and she was like, they're weird but they're okay. And I was like, yeah, girl. Like, that's just family. um and it's so funny, I didn't even realize that this is the part because then her dad gets like really serious with her
Yeah.
and he was like, don't say that. And I was like, that's dad core 101. Like it's so serious about things that you're like,
Yep.
okay. Instead, and it was the perfect opportunity for him to be like, why do you think we're weird? Like, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like,
Yes.
he never discussed
Absolutely.
their mixed heritage with her, which, again, like I mentioned before, is a common theme that I've found in my studies. That the parents just kind of like throw their kids out there. So I hope
Yeah.
that today, this is then. A lot of the books I read too were like kids who were of Mariah's age group or a little old or younger. But I hope that kids today or have more of a
Language.
yeah for it, or they feel
Grasp.
yeah. I hope that she talks about it, with rock and roll a little bit.
I feel like they do.
Yeah, I hope so.
I mean, we see all the videos of the children online being like, "You're white," to like the mom or the dad.
It's true. They be coming at their parents.
I'm brown. You are white.
Yeah.
Like they know we are different. We have different colors. Like there's a difference here.
Mhm.
And their parents like kind of tell them, yeah, your dad is this and I'm this and whatever, and now that makes you.
Yeah.
I feel like there is more language for them these days.
Being mixed is more common too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, but I do wonder for the people for like
I also think that they're less ashamed these days because
that too.
back then they did what they wanted to do, but also they were ashamed.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. I was just gonna say that I wonder about that though, because as accepted as it is, I do still feel like if you're from an area where you grow up around a bunch of white kids or you grow up around a bunch of
Hmm.
black kids and you're both, I wonder what that is like. I have a cousin. I wonder.
My first moment was her grandma, Roy, you better make her eat that pasta. That was sick to me. Sick. Grandma, are you kidding?
But what she said after that,
What'd she say?
she wasn't at no more dinners.
No, never again, thank God. At least Alfred Roy Carey stood up for her. Then the next moment was that her mom did really weird things, like sending that girl with her, Becky, to her dad's house for a play date.
What was that for? Was it to and you waited? That's the part that stuck with me. Is
Yep.
like, because it was just like, oh, I'm dropping Mariah off, and she got her little friend ain't gonna hang out, so they can hang out her daddy house. Got things to do. That's one thing. But Mariah notes that you never waited before, and you sat there and waited, like you were waiting for the reaction.
Mm-hmm. Like you had this whole plan.
It's giving mean spirited. I don't know
That's what
what
I
that was
said. I
about. Like
thought
you
she
didn't
was
want them
a
to be happy.
yeah. I thought she was a horrid racist. Uh, That's the only vibe I got from that lady. Anyway.
Yeah, ugly. She's talking about her father. She says he placed all his hope in the notion that societal respect would be rewarded of him
Hmm.
through his discipline, diligence, and excellence on traditional institutional tracks like academics, service to your country, and respectable work. And like maybe in Venezuela,
Yeah, Nunez.
but no, not here. And for his she says that, which I didn't know. That was actually kind of something that was interesting to me. I didn't know that Mariah Carey's family was like from the South. I don't know much about her father, obviously.
Hmm.
I just know she had a black daddy and a white mama. And if you're coming from the South, especially, you believe that? I guess I respect you for it.
I mean,
I get why you thought that, but also I don't. But that could also just be because I'm in 2025.
yeah, I was gonna say for one, he's not unique
Yeah, no.
because there are people of that generation who believe like, no, I'm gonna
Oh,
act this way, and
and
then
I'll be fine.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's also the fact that given the choices that he made, like being with the woman that he was with,
Mm-hmm.
and even the church that he chose,
Mm-hmm.
he just wanted acceptance and normalcy. And so if he pretended like it wasn't actually happening, then
It wasn't actually happening. It didn't apply to
which
him.
always ends up catching up to you anyway.
Every single time. This is the quote where I was like, "This is peak father."
Mm.
Everybody with a dad, I'm sure you can relate to this story. Um, Mariah Carey puts out Vision of Love, her first album. She wins 2 Grammys,
No.
you guys. Her father says, maybe if you're a producer, you could win more, like Quincy Jones. She won 2 Grammys on her
Hmm.
first album that she wrote herself, by the way. She was very young. That same year, the legendary Quincy Jones, rest in peace, took home 7 Grammys for his epic project Back on the Block, which spanned the entire history of Black American music. And she just goes on to like detail how great, how epic of an album this one, and why he won 7 Grammys for it.
I love that she did those things.
Yes. Why are you comparing me to Quincy Jones?
Honestly, honestly.
And also, congrats. Like I don't know, like what I just did was also
That's
really
never a
was really
thing.
dad, like peak dad. It's like, and I think she says it somewhere where she's like, I didn't highlight it, I don't think, but she says I had done astonishingly well as a new artist who had written her own hit songs, and here my father was comparing me to arguably one of the greatest musical giants the industry has ever known, with decades of experience and endless accolades and honors to his name. She was brought back to like her childhood. I'm like, yeah, because what are we? It's like it's their way of like trying to like they're trying. I don't think they realize the way they're coming off. Sometimes it's like what?
It's like they want to push you
Yeah.
to be great, dad. Then you know what's crazy though is that later when he passes, he has all of the clippings of all of her accomplishments. Anytime that there was any news about her, and he's written in the margins, and she has no idea that any of this has happened.
Also peak dad.
To think that they were so estranged,
Mm.
especially while she was
Mariah
doing
Carey.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, she was doing so well in her career, because she
Mm-hmm.
she was going through it in her personal life. To think that they were estranged is so off to me, but like you said, it's peak dad energy.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we doing this?
It's not for a lack of love. It's
Right.
just
Why are
always
you
like
just not part of my life? And then it always ends up being that they will say, oh, well, you didn't want me around. You didn't care if I was there or not.
When did I say that?
Who said that?
Peak Dad. They just be having their own
Who
inner monologue.
right, and they never recognize how this started. This started with you telling me maybe you should be a producer because look at what Quincy did. Like me and Quincy are on the same playing field. Matter of fact, maybe you should have been a producer.
Hello.
So another moment that stood out to me was her big moment at camp.
Hmm.
It made me so sad. She had so much rejection at such a young age,
Mhm.
and to never be cast again because she could see everyone's reaction because her dad was black. Oh, that's so rough. That is so rough. I'm so glad that she never also like denied his love. She never was embarrassed of him.
Mhm.
Some people do that. And I'm so glad that she never felt that way.
Even when the teacher, when she was a kid, was like,
Oh,
"Oh, honey, you used the wrong color for your dad," and she
right.
was
She was like,
like,
no, I didn't.
"No, I didn't. My black. I mean, we ain't got the right color. He ain't this brown, but he brown.
Right.
You don't got." She said, "You don't got no cookie colored crayons."
Another moment I wanted to talk about was her sister drugging her and her mom letting her go with Allison after their crazy fight. That was crazy. That was crazy. And then her sister burning her with the tea. What made you guys be so violent? For real, for real. Allison and Morgan, what was going on?
I guess they also just didn't have the words, and I can understand it, and not taking your violence out on other people, and especially your younger sister. But
Mm-hmm.
Mariah says, there's a moment where they have a dinner together.
Mm-hmm.
They're like trying to get, like, see if the family can be together again. And Mariah started to sing, and her
Mm-hmm.
father said, "Children are to be seen, not heard." And she stood up and performed. And she said she watched her siblings like retreat, like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, it's about to happen. She's crazy." And her mother gave him a look like, "No, no, no." So they grew up with that man
Yeah.
who did. She doesn't. She's, like we said, she's a lot younger than them, so they just had a different experience. So
Yeah.
he could be the reason that they are very angry
I thought of
and what
that
they live, what
that
they
because he
experienced.
was physically he did physically discipline them
Hmm.
and I mean he was quite oppressive with the way that that's crazy. The one wrist cracker, children should be seen, not heard. We're at dinner, Dad, in our house. Like she stood up on their coffee table to perform. I don't know. But
That's that southern upbringing of him.
yeah, like I can understand that that would have an effect on them. However, there are a lot of people that were um beat as children and they didn't act that way. And they never have acted that way. Those two are especially strange.
Mm.
Just saying.
I highlighted this because I thought it was interesting.
Hmm.
Um, Speaking of her parents, she was like, she had no recollection of them as a happily married couple. She goes, "It's bizarre to me that they were even married, not just because of race, but how different they were as people." And I was like, "Yes,
Yeah.
that happens a lot."
Mm-hmm.
Where you sit back and you're like, "How did this happen,
Yeah.
and why?" I think that all the time. There, I'm like, it just goes back to like looks, or like where you are in that stage of your life, but like a different
Yeah.
version of your parent, or she knew her parents separately, so she's like, ain't no way in the world this could have ever worked. Like,
Right.
y'all crazy separately.
Also, when you're so young,
Hmm. And then you start having babies. It's like, here we
they
are.
don't really have thoughts when they're
Mm-mm.
so young anyway.
Okay, I have. Okay, she was singing at. She was like doing the little jiggle things or whatever with those people, and her, or what was it? She was doing like demo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
when she was younger, in her teens, and she made a comment about the wives of the men that she was working with. And there was one wife who would always come in
Oh,
with like short shorts
yeah.
on, and she says, like maybe my own short shorts were inappropriate around these older men. I didn't know. I was just a kid getting her first whiff of independence, and besides, a few pairs of cheap shorts and tops were all I owned. And I was like, how icky of that woman. And I hate that women do that a lot. That
Yes.
they put it on young girls. Like
Yep.
that girl fast, that girl fresh,
Yep.
wearing them short shorts around these men.
Yep.
It's like, or she's just
A
a
kid.
little girl, and she's
Yeah.
wearing some shorts, and you're sexualizing her body because you're worried about these men. If the man you're married to is looking at that little girl like that, that's what you need to be focused on.
Exactly.
Not wearing short shorts to be in competition with a kid. What are we talking about?
To think about the fact that Mariah couldn't have been any more than like 17 years old. Ew. You wanted to compete with a 17-year and you wanted to pretend that a 17-year-old was competing with you
You
for
gotta take
your
your hand.
husband.
And when she married Tommy, she was like, I knew it. That girl love her old man. Cause I know you did.
Yeah, no.
I know how y'all work. The fact that she was like, I told them I also wanted to include the 19 where she was writing Honey.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to include Hey DJ by the world's famous Supreme Team.
Oh man.
She
Mariah
said,
had it bad.
girl, she said, little did they know it was a secret shout out to Derek Jeter. Honey was a song about jonesing for that DJ feeling. I said, Mariah, please, girl.
It's still one of her most recognizable songs. How does
Please.
Derek Jeter feel?
I gotta know.
Honey is huge. To know that it's written about him, Honey and My All are huge.
I put that as a
I
quote
mean, we
because it's
belong
funny.
together too.
No, for
Mariah,
sure.
I
Mariah,
felt
don't.
like the moment she found out she was famous was crazy.
No, that was
She'd had
insane.
huge hits by then. The fact that she'd never even been outside, that's what it was. She was like, what are all these people
So
doing
what? Who they for? What happened out
here?
here?
What's going
And the
on?
driver, he like,
They're here for you, lady.
girl, you Mariah Carey, right?
Right.
She's like, yeah, that's my name. He like, no, no, no,
No,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no.
no. Mm-mm.
You're
You're
Mariah
Mariah
Carey.
Carey. He was like, ain't that about a blip? Nobody told me nothing.
Nothing at all.
In Schenectady, New York, of all places.
I know. That's what was as a New Yorker. That's why she was like, well, what are all these people doing in
Okay,
Schenectady?
Schenectady. I didn't even know they was giving it up like this out here. So just knowing how Mariah's relationships were with her family,
Hmm.
her birth family, and then fast forwarding to her pregnancy with them babies, and she said I was often by myself. Like she was feeling alone in her pregnancy. She said, but fortunately, this time I did have a mother-in-law who was there for me more than anything else. Nick's mom, Beth. I thought that was so sweet that
That was
she like
awesome.
highlighted that how she would like rub her feet and like
Her back,
her
yeah,
back.
she
She
was
was
there
just
for
yeah,
her.
she was.
So finally, the
Hmm.
last moment that I wanted to hit was when Mariah got her well deserved divorce. She
Hmm.
flew straight to the Dominican Republic. And I wanted to say shout out to DR for giving Mariah her freedom expeditiously. Because apparently, you can get a divorce in a day if you are a foreigner in DR. Good to know. Moving along
Hmm.
into our quote
Woo!
section.
Tearjerkers. There was a time in my. This is literally the like first sentence of the book. There was a time in my early childhood when I didn't believe I was worthy of being alive, and I just thought that was really profound of like a child to think of. And she said it wasn't necessarily suicidal,
Hmm.
but just the concept that a child had those thoughts alone is very concerning.
It is. And
And
it also says a lot about our society that the society made a child feel that way.
yeah,
It
like a
was a
little.
very hostile environment.
Yeah, she says we are not a conventional family. Was it better to live in a place where my white mother would often walk alone through the front door first, ahead of my black father and her mixed kids for their safety. What does that do to the psyche of a man who is supposed to be the head of the household? How can such a man keep his family safe? And what does such an indignity signal to his black son? So that could also be, you know, again, we were hitting on like why them kids were so mad, especially Morgan. Like why were they so mad?
So violent.
Yeah,
I think it, I mean, it really also has to do with the mom.
yeah, for sure. And living in a she also says in that passage like they lived in like better, safer neighborhoods, and it was she was like better and safer meant white.
Mm-hmm.
But did she have parents lived in like Brooklyn Heights, and it was like super like hippy dippy,
Yeah,
and then she kind of wishes.
that
I
they
kind of
would
wish
have.
that they like stayed there. I think things would have been a little better for them.
But one of the quotes that I had was her mom once said to her, "You should only hope that one day you become half the singer I am." Mariah said, "My heart dropped, still to this day. What she said haunts and hurts me."
Mm-hmm.
And all I wrote was, "She's twice."
Hmm.
What an awful thing to say.
To anyone, but like especially your
Your
child.
child, like a little middle schooler, was having a giggling fit because you're singing a pop song in an opera voice.
It's funny. That's funny. Like that's objectively funny. Like I don't understand why that offended you. I also just wanted to highlight um Mariah Carey from a very young age always believed that she was going to be Mariah Carey.
Yes, that faith.
There was nothing like and she even talks about her mom. I guess the older she got was also like she'd say things. She'd say, like if I make it, and her mom would be like, "Don't say if you make it,
Hmm.
when you make it. Believe you can do it, and you will do it." And she just said the fact that I believed I could become a successful artist is one of my greatest strengths, and I was like, absolutely.
Yes.
And like forever, like it wasn't like something that you. I think it was a little girl when she was a kid was like, "You sound like when you sing, it's like instruments
Instruments are
playing."
with you, yeah.
Dude, that's all I needed to her. And that's a fact. You know what I mean? Though, like kids, you just need somebody to be like, you can sing, or like
Hmm.
you're really smart. And it's like, oh, okay.
I thought I was, but
But I
now
know
that
nobody else
somebody,
knew yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
now that somebody else validated for me.
After the whole ordeal with her sister's boyfriend, pimp, by the way, not a
Yeah,
boyfriend. Um, and she was just like, afterwards, she goes, I just wanted to be a child again.
your sister tried to traffic
I
you,
don't know
and
what the heck.
that is
Yeah.
insane. Okay, so another quote that I had was, I just felt like this was such a big part of her life. She goes, "Though a subtle, brief moment, this was the first big blow in a long line of times when people close to me would try to put me down, put me in my place, underestimate me, or take advantage of me. But she, above all, was the most devastating because she was the most essential. She was my mother."
Mm,
And that was about her saying, "You should hope to be half the singer that I am." Like I
so
said,
how would
just,
you ever fix your mouth to talk like that to me?
yeah, it is such a big part still, even today, of Mariah, that
Hmm.
people underestimate her, and then that they also are just so nasty to her.
Yeah. The Carson Daly story was really
Oh,
weird
that
to
was
me.
so bad. I was thinking I would love to see if somebody has ever asked him about that and what his
Same.
response was to that. Not that he ever gave me like a sweet vibe of a
Yeah.
person.
But also not like a bad person
I'd also
either.
like to highlight this moment because we're talking about how Mariah is so misunderstood.
Hmm.
And this is about her ex sister. She says, "But when I was 12 years old, my sister drugged me with Valium, offered me a pinky nail full of cocaine, inflicted me with third-degree burns, and tried to sell me out to a pimp. Something in me was arrested by all that trauma. That is why I often say I'm eternally 12. I'm still struggling through that time."
Hmm.
And this was definitely a moment for her to finally respond to everyone who looks at her weird
for saying that.
for saying that. She's a lot deeper than and grounded than people think that she is. Ooh, there was a bug,
Oh.
a fly. Anyway, she's a lot deeper and more grounded than she would ever, than she appears to be because she won't ever let you in. But she
Mm.
won't ever let you in because things like this happen to her.
Yeah. Who says that I have to?
That's a fact. I think it's honestly a little braver of her than, you know how Beyonce does not share anything at all ever
Mm-hmm.
happening? I think it's actually a little more brave of Mariah to give you a show. She gives you her big Zsa Zsa personality, whatever, her jokes and everything. And she gives you her truth in her own morsels
Mm-hmm.
and then just lets you have it.
Yeah.
That's it. You judge her, you say whatever you want to, and she just moves on.
Yeah. She said it was as if I was being crushed right out of myself. Everything he felt he didn't create or control was being strangled away. I created the fun and free girl in my videos so that I could watch a version of myself be alive, live vicariously through her, the girl I pretended to be, the girl I wished was me. I would view my videos as evidence that I existed. I was living my dream, but couldn't leave my house. Lonely and trapped, I was held captive in that relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And to think, how old was she when she got divorced? Maybe like mid to late 20s?
Sad as that.
That is so
I was
awful.
living my dream, like, because she was.
Yeah.
Everything she had worked for had come true.
Mm-hmm.
She was doing the thing. She had anybody looking in would
Oh,
be
I'm
like,
glad she didn't question it too.
right,
She never questioned her dream. She was never like, oh, I don't think I want to do this anymore.
right,
I would have questioned
for sure.
it.
Oh, me singing got to come with this? I don't say.
Gots to go.
I don't know how to hum.
When her and Tommy are, they're having their a moment
Hmm.
and they haven't officially separated. But it goes, the therapist put together a plan for me to go out socially without Tommy for the first time. This was major. It was going to be new to me too. I had gone straight from a complicated and careless childhood into the treacherous music industry and a toxic, tumultuous marriage. And I was barely in my mid 20s, but I was finally starting to access a different kind of courage, one that was there to protect my life, not just my song. And I wrote, she truly has lived, I don't even know what the words are, an unconventional, extraordinary, difficult life.
She's lived so many different lives too.
Yeah. And she says that. And oh wait, that's actually another thing that I relate to Mariah on is having the awareness of, oh wow, this is what I came from, or this is who I came from, and look at where I am now, look at where I
Hmm.
sit now. Not, I
Yeah,
mean, not me specifically. It's not like I haven't lived a lot of lives. I'm just saying the people that I came from, the stories that I hear
yeah.
in my family, I'm like, that's a very different life to what I live
Okay.
today.
This is always my favorite story, by the way. The "Always Be My Baby" remix. And
Oh,
they're at the house, and Debrat and Mariah run away, and the security is going crazy. Poor JD, by the
they
way.
like have Secret Service.
Poor JD.
JD probably has PTSD from that moment.
Literally. Um, but I
JD
love
as
that.
in Jermaine
Yeah,
Dupri.
Jermaine Dupri. But I loved that Debrat was like, "You need to get out of here."
At
She
19
was
years
19 years
old.
old. Yeah, that's what it was. She was 19, and she was like, "This ain't it, boo." She said, "If Debrat, a 19-year-old female rapper from the West Side, is afraid for you, you know the situation has got to be dire, darling." And it's like, yes, because
Yeah.
she from Chicago. She from the trenches, and she like,
Oh, nah.
nah. Mm-mm.
Okay. I wanted to highlight this one because I was squealing.
Let me hear it. I want to squeal.
It was Mr. Derek Jeter. He said, I had this plan. I was going to come
Mm.
to New York. I was going to get on the Yankees. I was going to meet you, and I was going to steal you away from Tony Sony. And then we were going to get married. I was squealing. I said, what? Of course Mariah was down bad for
So do
you.
it. So do it.
He did.
He
He
did.
did
He
do
did
it.
steal you from Tony Sony.
So, this is from a moment when everybody considered Mariah to have lost her marbles,
Mm.
even though we know she did not lose her marbles. She was just exhausted. Um, she says, when my mother feels scared, her complete assurance in the historic evidence that whiteness will always be protected activates, and she often calls the cops.
So wait.
This is what earned her the title of Vile Woman. As what?
Why would you call the police?
You call the police on your children multiple times?
Your black children in
Multiple
very white
times.
neighborhoods. You just don't.
You called the police on not just your children, on Mariah Carey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you are hateful,
Mm-hmm.
mean, and you really don't have to be.
You really do not have to
Because
be.
you got all benefits possible from her. And what was
And you
also
really
in
didn't deserve it.
right. And I thought this was like how you think the Titanic is gonna end differently. This is like my second reread kind of. I didn't finish the first time. This is my second this is my second read of this book, and I always wanted that moment to end differently where she left with the cops. I always wanted her to say, "Oh nah, I don't think you guys understand. This is my house.
Hello.
So if she and her little nasty son got a problem with me,
They can
they could go.
go. This is my house.
I'm gonna keep Sean. I'm gonna keep Tots. Everybody else, get up out of here."
This is after Tommy. She goes, Tommy was like, everything she was doing, he had like this new artist that he was trying to
Mm-hmm.
get on and was trying to sabotage her career with this woman. And she says, after hearing my new song using the same sample I used,
Mm.
Sony rushed to make a single for another female entertainer on their label, whom
Who
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I said, Mariah, please. I don't know her, so it was really great hearing her read that. I was like, this woman, she's never gonna let her go.
No.
And then after that, at the end of the part, she goes, and after all that,
Yep.
Loverboy ended up being the best-selling single of 2001 in the United States. I'm real. And I said, Mariah!
I had that quote too.
Mariah!
Another quote that I had was, oh, it was about when her father was going. And
Mm-hmm.
she said, this was the first time I revealed to him or any family member my struggles growing up when he was going.
Yeah.
And like I said before, it's weird to think that reporters have asked her about this extensively and she hadn't ever shared with her dad. And I think this is part of the disconnect with the public for Mariah. She will not let you in. She doesn't have to.
Yeah. Like, she don't owe us nothing for
Like I
real.
always remember that interview of her with Oprah, and it's early in her career, and it's her mom is there too, and like Oprah's asking her about race and stuff like that. To think that that girl, because at that point she was very young,
Mm-hmm.
that girl hadn't ever even told her dad, who could empathize.
Mm-hmm.
She had never told her dad any of the things going on with her, and then Oprah wanted her to open up about
Yeah.
XYZ in front of Patricia.
Of all people.
The next quote I have is from after her father dies. She has refurbished her dad's Porsche finally,
Mm-hmm.
and her son Rocky is in the Porsche and he's smiling. And she says, I can't help but think that though he never knew his grandfather, the look on Rocky's face captures the enduring spirit of Alfred Roy Carey. And I teared up a bit at that
I
one.
literally did. It was that another moment that actually made me tear up. Um, And then the photo of little Rocky in the car was really sweet. My last quote is, my children are happy and they play with each other, learn with each other, joke, laugh, and live with each other. No matter what, they will always have each other. They will always have each other. They are rock and roll for life. And I cried.
Yeah, that one got to me too.
Yeah, I cried and I just thought, that's when I thought, oh, I'm so happy she had them. I'm
Yeah.
so happy she had, because she's also getting to like relive her childhood through them,
Yeah.
and give them all of the things she wanted. You know, like
Mhm.
Christmas, like a normal Christmas, or like that was another part that I related to her on, where she said she would like bank things like that, like, oh, I can't wait till I can like have normal Christmases, or like whatever,
Yes.
whatever, or just celebrate holidays the way she wanted to.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, yes.
So my last quote was also about the kids, and she says, "It is by divine design that the children of a wayward child, who as a child professed she would never have children, are so extraordinarily fortunate." And similarly to you, I just said, "Oh, Mariah, I love this for you and them."
Okay, finally we're moving into what did you learn? So E, what did you learn?
Okay, one, I have two things. So the first one is,
Mm-hmm.
the Empire State Building was scheduled to be lit up in my signature pink yet lavender colors, in celebration of a native New Yorker making history with Touch My Body, setting a new record. I had no idea that they'd lit up the Empire State Building with her colors.
Me neither.
That's
Yeah,
amazing
that's big.
and necessary. And we've said it multiple times. Mariah has broken records like nobody else's business.
That's her middle name. You said she don't got a middle name? That's her middle name.
Okay, so the second one was, oh, I think this might have been the last couple lines of the book. She says, "In the end and in the beginning, it's all about faith for me. I can't define it, but it has defined me."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Same." And I connected with her so deeply on that.
Yeah, I also highlighted in my notes that, and I shared it earlier, I had no idea that she was, this faith based.
Mm-hmm.
And that was definitely something that I learned reading this. And I did connect to it because, like, I also, not in a religious way, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely in like in a faith way. I'm like,
Yeah.
prayer is just so real, and like just having faith. Like, I just have faith that like what's gonna happen is gonna happen, and like,
Ominous
you know what
positivity.
I mean.
That's my vibe.
Period. Always.
So that wraps up this video.
Hmm.
If you've watched up until here,
God bless you.
yeah, thank you so much. We really enjoyed reading this book, and we definitely recommend.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. I just said that. Thank you for watching again, I guess. And please make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel.
Yes,
Make
ma'am.
sure that you hit the notification bell to be aware of whenever we are
Make
posting.
sure you are following us on all of the socials.
Absolutely.
Links are down in the description box below.
Stay tuned for our next video because we are hopping into Twisted Love. I don't remember the author's name.
Anna Huang,
Okay.
I believe.
I think it was an A. I think it was a Huang. So,
Which I'm super excited because I was feeling like I'm ready to get back into our like romance vibe.
yeah. See you at the
Same.
next meeting, girlies.
Bye,
Bye, girlies.
girlies.